Generally, inciting a riot or unlawful assembly is an act of persuading, encouraging, or pressuring someone else to participate in acts of violence or civil disobedience. While inciting a riot typically takes the form of verbal threats or direct coercion, it can also occur through general upheaval, without explicit encouragement. It is illegal to incite a riot, and an individual who engages in this behavior may be charged with a crime. The penalties for inciting a riot or unlawful assembly can include jail time, fines, and community service. The legality of targeting and control measures implemented to prevent riots and unlawful assemblies is contested in some countries. Rioters, like other people, have their own individual rights, but those rights may be restricted in order to protect public safety. An individual inciting a riot or unlawful assembly may be subject to arrest, depending on the circumstances. In some cases, a person inciting a riot or unlawful assembly can be charged with a felony or other criminal offense. In other cases, a criminal charge may be dropped as part of a plea bargain. In civil court, an individual found guilty of inciting a riot or unlawful assembly may be sued for damages by those affected by their actions. For an individual to be found guilty of this crime, prosecutors must prove that the accused incited the riot or unlawful assembly. The prosecution must also show that they had knowledge of the risks associated with their actions. When an individual incites a riot, they must be aware that their behavior can lead to injury or destruction of property. The accused can be found guilty regardless of whether or not an actual riot or unlawful assembly occurred. In some cases, prosecutors may bring multiple charges against an individual for inciting a riot or assembling unlawfully. In some cases, the accused may use the defense of free speech in order to avoid prosecution. Individuals accused of inciting riots or unlawful assembly may be able to use other defenses such as self-defense or protection of life. In some countries, breaking up an unlawful assembly or riot is considered a legal duty, and individuals may be held accountable for their failure to do so. In order to make a successful arrest, police officers must take extreme precaution to prevent violence or injury to bystanders. Rioters and unlawful assembly participants are usually charged either with misdemeanor or felony crimes, depending on the severity of the situation. The specific charges and their severity will vary depending on the jurisdiction and the specific facts of the case. In some cases, authorities may pursue federal charges against individuals accused of inciting a riot or unlawful assembly. In some jurisdictions, gang affiliation and membership can aggravate the penalties for inciting a riot or unlawful assembly. Citizens involved in inciting a riot or unlawful assembly may also be subject to civil litigation. In some cases, an individual may be held liable for the costs associated with the damages caused by the riot or unlawful assembly.